I guarantee you are sleeping on this S Nightfall hero. Watch the whole video because you do not want to miss what she can do. Oh, baby! Yo, what's going on, Hero Clutch? Welcome back to episode 3. Gotcha. Of the Nightfall faction. We're going into another Warrior Nightfall hero. This time, she is actually good. Okay? So with that being said, let's jump straight.
Don't cry, baby. I won't stop until you're on fire.
Raina, let's go. Like you said, warrior, cake of doodles. So, I like her. She's really, really good. I'm just going to say that right now. So watch the whole video. Here we go. Her core skill, Explosive Demon. Raina deals 100% of attack as damage to all enemies. All enemies. Has a 25% chance to inflict Disarm for 2 turns. Level 2, increased damage to 125% of attack and Disarm to 30%. And level 3, increased damage to 150% of attack and Disarm chance to 35%. 35%. Moving on, we have Devil's Embrace. Raina's basic attack deals 120% of attack as damage to enemies and has a 40% chance to inflict Disarm for 2 turns. Yo, her core skill and her basic. 40% chance to inflict Disarm for 2 turns. Level 2, increased damage to 150% and Disarm chance to 50%. And then level 3, increased damage to 180% and Disarm chance to 60%. What? Jeez. Level 4, increased damage to 210% and Disarm chance to 100%. I can't even speak. I'm just blown away by how amazing she is. However, we have to analyze, what does Disarm mean? It's not a full-on stun or charm or petrify. No. Okay, so moving on to Demonic Sacrifice. Raina's basic attack heals for 5% of max HP, level 2, 8%, level 3, 10% of max HP. Okay, moving on to Ward Evil. Raina gains health protection, increasing her damage reduction by 10% and armor by 20%. Armor for 3 turns each time an enemy is disarmed. Can stack. Ooh. Level 2. Grants 12% damage reduction and 25% armor. Level 3 grants 15% damage reduction and 30% armor. Stackable too. Level 4, which requires 9 exclusive legendary relics. Increased damage reduction to 18% and defense to 35%. Also restores 10% of max HP. Okay, so first things first, when it comes to disarming, why don't I see this? Where is it at? Hero Clash, what the frizzle my rizzle dizzle, yo. Okay, so from the top of my head, I'm pretty sure disarm means they can't use skill, but they can use basic attack, or they can't use basic attack and they can use skill. It's one of the two. You know what? Let's just go test it out right now. Here we go. So let's swoop something in on her real quick.
Okay. Don't cry, baby. I won't.
He honk.
Demons Embrace.
There we go. Okay, Alvarez is disarmed.
Is woven into
if she uses a basic attack, that means she can't use her skill. We're about to find out right now.
No one defies nature.
Cleanse your soul.
Cleanse your soul. Okay, so I would assume. He honk. Okay, as you guys just witnessed, they cannot use basic attacks, but they can use skill, which is extremely OP for those who like using Samurai with the basic attack feature, which is extremely OP if you know how to work the system, okay? So with that being said, let's move on to our Awakening skill. We have is Fearlessness. When HP falls below 50%, temporarily increased damage reduction by 12% and received healing by 20% for 3 turns, okay? And moving on to her exclusive gear skill, level 1, reduce attack of targets disarmed by 5%. Level 10, reduce attack of targets disarmed by Raina by 10%. and then the same thing but 20%, and then the same thing but 30%. Not too bad. Okay. Now, my favorite part. When it comes to armor, 100% I recommend speed and some type of defense. You can either go with damage reduction or HP with a huge emphasis on speed. Okay. She's one of those heroes you want to get off right away. So the enemy heroes cannot use their basic attacks. They can only use skill. However, if they already used their skill in the previous turn, well, guess what? And then they're just sitting there looking dumb, like, yeah, can't help. Yep, can't help. Gotta wait to charge my bar. Oh, man. When it comes to ruins, baby, I'm gonna have to go with 100% samurai and HP. 100% samurai. Okay, when it comes to the artifact, when it comes to Esper, I'm going to have to go with the good old Ocean Amulet because you do get 30% debuff hits. Now, I know, and then you get 30% HP as well to prolong her in the game, depending who you go against. And basic attacks and skill deal 8% of max HP as bonus damage. Now, the Ocean Amulet, besides the debuff hit, won't benefit her that much. However, if you're living life on the edge, and you decide to focus on her HP, right? If you make her a super defensive hero, why she turned around? There we go. If you make her a super defensive hero when it comes to the ruins, then I would recommend whatever you use Ocean Amulet with, I would pair it with Domination, yo. I think that combo on any hero would be amazing. And I think it would be good on her if you focused on HP when it came to her and defense, okay? Now, moving on to good old Holy Praise. I would recommend... I have a lot of recommendations. We have Eternal Cloak. You get the attack and HP, and then you get the shield. I'd recommend Arcade Ring because you just want that 100% increased debuff resistance. Yes, hands down. Whew. And then, is there anything else? That's it. Then moving on to the Abyss items. Yes, baby! If this isn't being used by anyone else already, I'd recommend 100% Devil's Fangs. Gain either 20, 30, 40, or 60 debuff hit. And you gain some speed there, too. Just saying, baby. Okay. Now, moving on to talents. Now, in my personal perspective, I'm going to go with defense. I'm going to want a higher HP with a Samurai Ruins base. So I'm going to go with Esper Shield 100%. For the second mythic talent, I'm going to go with either... I'm going to have to go with... I kind of want to increase attack, but I think Weak Point or Fatal Blow. Yeah, I'd go with Fatal Blow. Or Weak Point, depending. Yeah. When it comes to Transcendent talent, I would go with... I feel like Violent Recovery wouldn't be too bad. However, it depends on offensive or defensive, which ruins you use. So, yeah, I'd go to Violent Recovery. Yeah. And then for Eternal Talent, 100% Soul Mastery. Gain 30% debuff hit. For each enemy that takes an action, gain 4% debuff hit until the end of the turn. Not too bad at all. Okay? Now, with that being said, when it comes to the tutorial, what do they recommend? Let's find out. Arcane Ring, not surprised. And good old Devil's Fang, baby, let's go. When it comes to the talents, they recommend Battle Knowledge. No. Vital Armor. No. I understand this one. I could see that if you don't have the Arcane Ring or whatever. And then Soul Mastery, 100% yes. Okay, the first two, absolutely not. Despicable. And then for Ruins, they recommend Banshee and HP. Like I said, they're going more of a defensive type Reina. However, Trinity from the future here really quick when it comes to her Ruins, when it comes to talents on what to choose. Now, all this will change. It all depends on her relics. Yes, when you get 3 legendary relics, it increases the debuff chance of Disarm to 100%. So if that's the case, I would go with Banshee instead of Samurai. It all depends where her relics are at. Because if you disarm an enemy and they can't use basic attacks, they can only use skill, that's half the battle right there, not gonna lie. So there will be no need to have Samurai at all. So Banshee / HP or you could go with a little bit of offense, Banshee and attack, or something like that. That is Reina, the warrior Nightfall hero. So my final thoughts when it comes to Reina, I think she's an absolute monster when it comes to debuffing with her Disarm ability, and I think she's good to go. I give her a high grade. We'll get to a tier list in the future, but she's really good if you know how to incorporate her as a defensive hero in the back row. And man, you'll see more of her in the future. With that being said, greatness manifested.